I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
Clean energy is better than gold.
Clean energy is better than gold.
How long will they wait? How much will we pay? We need climate action yesterday. Better than living in climate hell.
Better than living in climate hell.
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Fossil fuels have got to go!
We'll fight climate change. We'll show them how. Tell government we need net zero now. There is no planet B. Growth at any cost is no longer acceptable, and governments need to stop kicking the climate change can down the road by merely strengthening regulations of future emissions and must enforce limits to emissions now. We have a city government who refuses to enforce its idling laws despite the practice being rampant. We have a provincial government whose ruling party does not prioritize climate change, in fact makes changes to worsen emissions, and likely do not even believe climate change is real. And we have a federal government who talk a good game on climate change, but then bought a pipeline for the oil sands, hands down the highest emission source of oil on the planet. It's time to challenge climate change denial head on and let the world know that when it comes to climate change, we will not accept anything less than net zero, and we demand it now.
Bruce Nagy was unable to speak, but sent an audio clip.
After working almost every day for 15 years on climate solutions with engineers and energy planners and government programmers, I've learned 4 things. Number 1, there are no more excuses left. There are no excuses as a society or individually. There are no technical reasons that we can't have completely green energy and zero carbon. There are no economic reasons. We have way more solutions than we need. We have enough proven, affordable, job creation, economy supporting solutions to solve this crisis. Number 2, we know for sure now that corporations and consumers will not change until and unless our governments require them to do so. Self-regulation, that's a myth. Getting the oil and gas and nuclear industries to help design solutions, it's a complete non-starter. It's a waste of time. We've tried it. We've proven it doesn't work. Number 3, there has been some progress. We have struggled, we fought, and we're replacing coal, gas, nuclear with renewables and batteries. We've begun to electrify our vehicles and buildings. We're doing the homework. We're getting rid of our SUV gas guzzlers, and we're replacing our gas furnaces with good windows and heat pumps. However, number 4, there are still way too many people, and unfortunately they are often our leaders, who say, let's go slow, let's study this some more, let's be prudent, let's be Ontarians, let's do half measures, let's let the industry design it. We need action now. No more half measures, no more lame excuses. As you know, this literally is a matter of life and death. Our lives, our children's lives, are the other species on the planet. So please switch to electric vehicles, get rid of your gas furnace, and vote for the right people. You have the power, everyone. Please use it, and please change this world. Thank you.
I was reflecting on where we were last year at this moment, and a global conversation was finally starting to emerge. You were seeing big corporate businesses respond to pressure, changing their practices, and we were finally having this conversation, not just in academia, not just in a classroom, but around our kitchen tables, with our neighbors, with our friends, and our families. We were talking about the need to take action on climate change, and we were talking about the need to accelerate that action now. Obviously, a lot of things have changed over the past year. We are dealing with a global human rights movement. We are dealing with a global recession, and we are dealing with a global pandemic. But alongside of that, we can't lose sight of the need to continue to pursue an environmental agenda and an agenda that prioritizes a net zero future, an agenda that prioritizes the earth, and an agenda that addresses the climate change challenges that are facing all of us. But I think that the decisions that we can make, local government, provincial government, national government, those can make an impact in the way that we live our lives. You can make a difference at a local level. You can be that positive change that you want to see, whether that's riding a bike to a local shop, taking transit, picking up garbage, having conversations about the ways that we can reduce our environmental footprint, looking for opportunities to retrofit your homes, working with government partners to access grants and funding supports to do that. There's so many things that we can do.
I took the opportunity, much like I think many of us have, to reflect on where we are now and where I was last year. And funny enough, last year this time I was out campaigning and talking to folks, attending youth climate marches, and it hit me that throughout the year there has not been much change. I was still at a youth-led climate march. I was still looking for comprehensive, serious action from our federal government on the climate. The speech from the throne just reiterated a lot of the campaign promises that I heard last year. There's no shame actually, because there's still no path forward to how we reach net zero emissions. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to address the single biggest issue pressing us as a species. It's pressing us in our health. It's a global safety issue. Look at what we have managed to do with our governments and for each other when we address and acknowledge a global health crisis immediately.
We are at a crossroads. We are living through a number of crises: the COVID-19 health pandemic, natural disasters including unprecedented hurricanes and wildfires, a reckoning for racial justice, and of course the climate crisis. 5 years ago, this same Prime Minister promised to phase out fossil fuel subsidies. This week, he decided to prolong them. We are tired of Trudeau's broken promises. This gap between promise and reality is the lens through which young people heard his speech. Moreover, even if his promises were fulfilled, they would remain woefully insufficient. And so we marched and shout and protest because our lives depend on it. What do we want?
Climate action!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate action!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
We don't get it?
Shut it down!
We don't get it!
Shut it down!
Thank you.
Climate issues are we are facing a public health crisis on multiple fronts, and climate is one of them. So we can create an economic recovery that is a green recovery issue. I do want to take a moment to say how terrible the current government is at Queen's Park. The very first thing they did, and they called it like urgent public matters, was to dismantle the climate-related measures that the previous government had in place. So they have used the pandemic to push through an anti-environmental and anti-climate agenda, so that you now developers don't have to do environmental assessments. They have succeeded in making the process of government less accountable, so they can push things through way faster these days. They cut debate in the House all the time. They choose to not go to committee all the time. This cannot be acceptable. We have to get to the point where even the Conservative Party of Canada and of Ontario and of every other province would not dream of not taking climate seriously. We will make this happen. We will get this done. As Kendall said, our lives depend upon it. We have no choice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.